Larry? Hi, Larry. Good morning. Wait, no, can't hear you.
Oh, you should be able to. I'm not.
Now I can hear you. Rabbi, I'll be with you in a second.
Okay.
Good morning, good morning.
Okay, Tov.
We saw yesterday, according to the Ramban, that there's a Machlokes Yehuda and Reuven. If they kill him indirectly, originally they wanted to really assassinate him straight. Then Reuven said, no, let's drop him in the bow. And then Yehuda says, no, let's sell him. And Yehuda openly says, even if we throw him to the pit, it counts as a murder. So let's see in the Rambam. It basically means indirectly causing the death of someone. The Rambam is in Sefer Nezikin, in Chot Rotzeach, in Perek Sheni. Let's go open it a second.
It's at the end.
It's interesting that the Rambam is putting it in the Chot Nezikin. Yes, Chot Rotzeach, damages.
Yeah.
And then he has the topic of Chovel Mazik. It's called Chovel Mazik.
Bruising or hurting.
Perek Bet Merotzeach. Look at the Rambam begins. כל ההורג חברו בידו, כגון שעיקר בסייף או באבן הממיתה. The weapon has to be always examined by the court. If the stone has או שחנקו עד שמת, choked him, או שרפו באש, הואיל והרגו מכל מקום, הוא בעצמו, הרי זה נהרג. What is the Rambam? The Rambam is saying, for the sake of a smart lawyer, you can argue and say, when I threw you into the fire consumed you, not me. If I'm throwing a stone on you, you died from the stone, not for me. So the Rambam emphasizes, if you kill בידו, כגון שעיקר בסייף או באבן, חנקו is obvious, או שרפו באש, הואיל והרגו מכל מקום, הוא בעצמו, here's the key phrase, הרגו מכל מקום, הוא בעצמו, you directly caused, so the weapon you used was either fire, or the weapon, Sefer Nezikin, you take it in, Sefer Nezikin. הרי זה נהרג בבית דין, this is what we would call here first degree murder, if there are witnesses in the ruling, he's going to be executed by side. Aval, amen. Aval, just open it.
Yeah.
You take this.
Thank you, Rabbi. Is this for now? Or?
Just right there on the page where you.
Before you get started, Rabbi Parker, you just adjust the camera just a bit, if you would be so kind. Thank you.
Aval, the Rambam says, Aval, halacha bet. You see what it says bet in front of you? Bet. Aval ha-socher horeg להרוג את חברו. If you hire someone to kill, or ששלח עבדיו והרגו, you have non-Jewish slaves. Let's say in the case of Avshalom and his brother Amnon, Avshalom told his slaves to kill his older brother. Now the chidush of Avadav is because very often what the slave does, it's as if you're doing it. It's page 128.
Okay.
Or shekafto, listen to the examples I was giving. Or shekafto v'hinicho lifnei ari, you're tying him up, and you know that the predator, a lion is coming to attack him. Remember, the lion killed him. If the lion is there while you do it, this is considered killing biyadayim. But you're tying him late in the afternoon, you know that at 8 o'clock, the predators are looking for food. וכיוצא בו והרגתו חיה, וכן ההורג את עצמו. A man commits suicide. כל אחד מאלו, now remember, in Halacha Aleph, the Rambam says, I'm doing it physically with my hands. I'm using it with a weapon. I'm killing it with a fire, a stone. Here, I hired, I sent my slaves. I tied you up. But the predator told you, כל אחד מאלו, listen carefully how he says it. כל אחד מאלו, which one of the examples I gave you, says the Rambam, שופך דמים הוא. You are a full-fledged murderer as far as the title. The t-shirt you'll get is murderer. ועוון הריגה בידו, and the sin that you committed is murder. וחייב מטעם השמיים. Rambam says openly, in the Shamayim it says that you are a murderer. But, ואין בהם מיתת בדין, but בדין would not do it.
Rambam might kill you indirectly.
Yeah, we'll see in a minute. So basically what the brothers are going to do to Yosef is exactly that. They are throwing him into a pit that they believe is an empty pit. He's definitely going to die there. We understand very well the way the Ramban understood what Yehuda is telling the brothers. The advice Reuven gave us, our brother, the older brother, says that's throw him into the pit, and it's not such a real murder. No, it's a full-fledged murder. Only thing we save is the punishment. This is exactly what we'll see later in Gemara regarding that.
But I also mentioned yesterday at the end, but they ended up selling him for money. So that is a kidnapping. Oh, it's kidnapping. Selling for money is a chayav mitah also. In the same way. So is it better than murder? So was that less than murder?
If you really want to know why they're not chayav mitah, neither me and you, if I kidnap someone and I sell him to a Brazilian couple for $1 trillion, I'm not chayav mitah,
No.
unless I enslave him and he's doing work for me. It says in the Chumash like this.
Okay, I'm willing to.
No, it's open in the Chumash. If you are selling someone and he's doing a job for you, if you want to find it in
Being like the Ishmaelim, we're not gonna work him. The brothers have
Only
to
if
work.
they kidnapped him and sold him. Then
Like a Jewish child.
So what is Vagonate You
you
should-
pull it in your hand, but the question is it chayav?
So what is it?
The answer is
What does v'gonev ishu mecharo mean then?
okay. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no. If you look
Not
at
happy
the,
went off subject.
if you look at
No, it's not, I mean, somewhat, but they can sell it.
okay,
So,
good,
it's
okay.
a valid,
They didn't take your stuff from the house, your stuff went to them.
I don't know.
But they
not-
still.
There's no difference if I take you from the house or when you come, I hold you together. Yes, it's the same.
Okay.
The minute you stop him from going,
Also, ultimately, Rabbi Prab, what's really mitat? What can you help me understand? What does mitat b'dei shamayim really mean? What does it do to you? Can you get an aliyah in shul? Do you get maftir? What do you? I mean, you know what I'm driving at. What I mean, it's a
Rambam
big
is
thing.
saying is that Rambam is saying that everyone in shul says he is a murderer. We'll buy him a T-shirt and at Yom Kippur will say here, Misha Berach, the murderer, so and so. Yes, he's a murderer for the rest of his life, but he's a murderer without legally be able to kill him. Wait a second, he's not really coming to shul every day. In a minute, I'll just I mean,
I'll say it for another time,
No, leave it,
I'll take your word for it on the
no.
internet.
Yeah, we could wait, Rabbi Prab. We could wait.
I killed that
you
guy.
just,
Larry, we'll take the rabbi's word
you
for it.
guys say, no,
No,
it's
he's a
fine.
murderer. Now I.
No,
I
no,
killed him.
he's asking now.
Am I a murderer?
Mabruk to Rani. Rani's
Rani,
granddaughter. Rani's granddaughter. Last night.
Every week, it's a beautiful thing. We wait for Ronnie to make a simcha for us.
Everybody should have the same happiness.
Next week, Ronnie, next week also. We're waiting for you next week. I don't know what you're gonna do.
We have a briefing letter coming Thursday.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Anyway, your
Thank you, God
questions,
bless you.
nice question, just to take it off the table. Go to Rambam Ilchot Gneva. It's a little bit before you. Ilchot Gneva. Look at the Rambam is the master organizer. The Chumash said, yes,
Yeah.
Perek Tet. Perek Tet Ilchot Gneva. By you, Jack, by you, it's page 52. You have Gneva, Tet, you're-
Yeah, I just
Say-
correct that.
Now you have it, Tet Migneva, yes?
Yes, yes, thank you. I have it.
לב נפש אדם עובר בלא תעשה, שנאמר לא תגנוב, this is עשרת הדיברות, yeah? לא תגנוב means, פסוק זה האמור בעשרת הדיברות, היא אזהרה לגונב נפשות. וכן, המוכר, the one that sells it, עובר בלא תעשה, שזה בכלל לא ימכרו בכלל לב. Now is the
So far, so good though, but now we have.
so far so good till halacha bet. Okay, so let's read now halacha bet. אין הגנב חייב מיתת חלב עד שיגנוב את הישראל ויכניסנו לרשותו וישתמש בו וימכרנו לאחרים. That is the pasuk that you quoted, missed the pasuk the Rambam brings, שנאמר ויתעמר בו means you humiliate him by using him as a friend, ומחרו, ואפילו לא נשתמש בו, which means you kidnap the kid and says, wash the dishes for me, חייב מיתה. If you just kidnap the kid because you have someone ready to buy him and adopt him for $1 million, זה עובר עבירות תעשה, but there's no חילול מיתה.
Or if I ransom, I would hold him for money, and it's a ransom.
No, it's
But you didn't work
before.
Then you didn't work him,
If
then
you're
you're
not
not chayav.
working, it's a pasuk.
Okay?
ואפילו לא נשתמש בו אלא בפחות משווה פרוטה, כגון שנשאל עליו. It is. The only thing you do is you lean on the kid. The man who kidnapped him is old. Says, can you just assist me as I walk?
Yeah.
This is נשתמש בו. ואף על פי שהגנב ישן, yes? הרי זה נשתמש בו. גנבו ונשתמש בו. ומכרו, ועדיין הגנו, okay, this is details, but the bottom line is,
Right.
I mean, just to see how far it goes, go to Halakha Dalet. Remember, this is a pasuk. because the pasuk that Larry had to mention is Ve'it Amer, you are using him in a humiliating way. Look a second.
Also, you had the
In
the chateau. We didn't get into that either.
correct. In הלכה ד', look, וכן אם גנב אישה ומכרה לעובריה בלבד. You're telling the buyer, she's still mine, but the children that she would have in the next 3 years are yours. Says the Rambam, הרי זה פטור, you didn't use a woman בכלל, you used it as a machine of producing kids, this is what you did. So the misconception that just kidnapping and selling is chayav mitah is definitely lav min haTorah, two lavim min haTorah, but the chenek is only if you bring it into your reshut and you are using any type of a use. See, the Rambam says, אפילו לא להשתמש בו אלא בפחות משווה פרוטה. This is normally only if I take from you an item that has a value. Here, the actual usage is there. Okay, so let's go back now to our topic. Please go to הלכות רוצח פרק ב'. So I'm just reading again הלכה ב', פרק ב' מרוצח, ספר נזיקין. I'm reading it again. In הלכה, the Rambam says, if I use any weapon, it's as if I'm killing you with my hands. Because the reason why the stone is killing you is because I put
Your force.
the force into the fight. אבל הלכה ב', הסוחר הורג להרוג את חברו. You hire the mafia to do it. Or ששלח עבדיו, even though your slaves are really under your full control. You might look on a slave as my arrow. No. או שכפתו והניחו לפני הארי and you tie him up and the predator consumes him וכיוצא בו והרגתו החיה וכן ההורג את עצמו a man commits suicide כל אחד מאלו שופך דמים. The title is you're a murderer. ועוון הריגה בידו וחייב מיתה לשמיים.
How does the Rambam, I'm sure it's a Gemara somewhere, but how does the Rambam know this? There's not a pasuk that's...
Everything is a Gemara. Of course.
All right, obviously I don't know anything.
No, good. But looking at Halacha Gimel, the Rambam right away is asking your question. How do I know? So he quotes the Gemara.
There it is.
Quotes the Gemara. Uminayin shekenu adin. Because when Hashem is commending Bnei Noach and the Avera of murder, Hashem says like this, Shofech dam ha'adam ba'adam. Shofech dam ha'adam ba'adam. כמו יישפך, זה ההורג בעצמו שלא על ידי שלילה. If you yourself is killing, fine. את דמכם, if you look in Noach again, לנפשותיכם אדרוש, לנפשותיכם, זה הורג את עצמו, ממנו commit suicide. מיד כל חיה אדרשנו, זה המוסר חברו, here he puts into the pasuk, it's a Gemara, לפני חיה, לטורפות, הוא consume. מיד האדם, listen to the words, מיד האדם, ויגיש אחיו, את ראש את נפש האדם, says the Rambam, זה הסוחר, אחרים להרוג את חברו. Listen carefully now what the Rambam, I mean, you see later why the Rambam keeps. ובפירוש נאמר בשלושתם לשון דרישה. Hashem says, I am going to personally, when? הרי דינם מסור לשמיים. Larry, why is this so important? In a minute you will see, in a minute, first let's read הלכה ד' וכל אלו הרצחנים, all the examples that I gave you that are legally cannot be executed, שאינם מחויבים מיתת בית דין, that בית דין cannot kill them, אם רצה מלך ישראל, if the king wants to kill him Bedina Malchut, means I have special powers as a king, and this guy killed indirectly. V'takanat ha'olam. If the king realizes that these sophisticated murders are done too often, he wants to cure society from this cancer. Harashut biyado. So here is right away how we can sometimes eliminate those who did something sophisticated like that.
So Rabbi, of course, the Beit Din has a right to prison person, so he doesn't go out and do
In
it
the
against
minute,
anybody
yeah,
else.
yeah, in the
right?
minute, yeah,
They have to
Rani
protect society.
wants to
He's a
know
predator.
if the king didn't kill in the minute. V'chen,
Wait a minute. So, wait a second. Uri HaChiti that David HaMelech put in front there.
I have the Gemarot in front of me, if we Uriah in the minute. וכן, אם ראו בית דין להורגם בהוראת שעה. We saw a few times the Rambam בהלכות ממרים that the בית דין הגדול has emergency power to kill, even to kill, בהוראת שעה. So this is not the halacha, but it's being done too often
What was the English in there, Rabbi?
on a temporary basis.
Wow.
אם הייתה השעה צריכה לכך, if we have to do it, יש להם רשות כפי מה שיראו.
Rambam talks about that a lot, to preserve society in
We
different averot.
saw in Rambam Hilchot Mamrim. If you remember, Joseph Bildrich told us that Saudi Arabia gave Yale $3 million grant to statistically prove that because in Saudi Arabia we chop your hand if you steal, the amount of theft in Saudi Arabia is close to zero. In this country, it's in the tens of percent, yes? So is it good or bad? Is it cruel or not? It's very cruel, but you see the result. This is what Torah over here.
After the MTA just spent
But-
$1 million to watch
Yeah.
people jump the fare, to why people don't pay the fare on the
That's so
train.
ridiculous.
It's free. You have to pay.
You can't make this stuff up.
Ridiculous.
I see it every day. I see it every day. It's a simcha. You have to watch
They
it.
spent $1 million instead
Million dollars to do a study.
of pointing out to the education of the country. I mean, what do you mean, why? Why? Because in
Because
reality.
you can, that's why.
You
The
can,
bottom
there's no
line, the
consequences.
bottom line is
And the
because you
kids are-
can.
they're
No,
not
no, you
taught
mean because
values.
he
There's
said
no
because there are no
values.
consequences.
No
There's no
consequences,
consequences,
that's
no
everybody, you
values,
It's
can't.
like
there's
a Saudi Arabia, they cut off the person's hand, he's
Well,
thinking
legs,
twice
yeah.
about ever doing it again, right?
No, you've never
And
done
his
it.
friend is never gonna do it again.
Here, Rabbi Kotler in the 50s, when he was planning to build a building, so you know the office prepared a nice sketch of the building.
Sure, yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
renderings.
And then in the sketch you saw a few trees. So he says, take this off, because we started with the building, there are no trees. You cannot say what you think to do.
Right.
This is not a method. It's-
Oh.
If you hear it once and everyone knows, okay, anyway, look
So,
now.
but you said the Beit Din has
So
the
the
right
Beit
to.
Din have the right to kill if they believe that it's required in order to send a message. Yes, now, listen to
Are the
Hey,
brothers
Rabbi.
act- are the brothers acting as a bet din here, Rabbi?
What?
Are the brothers acting as a bet din in this case?
Yeah, the brothers or Sanhedrin. Look
They
at
had a
Halacha.
meal, they had a meal like the regular.
Yeah,
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 they had
yeah, but
nine
you see,
by
part
Hashem,
of
others.
the problems are, it's beautiful that you are Beit Din, but you have a father who is the chief justice.
So that is Hashem
And you
joint.
have-
That
and
is
you
quote unquote
And you
Hashem joint.
you have Yitzchak. Look,
Name wasn't
look
there.
at it. This is why they were punished, and me and you are punished. This is the
Yeah.
Holocaust, this is the Crusades, because they decided that we are the Beit Din.
Mhm.
Stalin decided that he's fixing society, yes, he killed only 40 million people because they didn't have the power to. This is the
That's,
problem.
that's the story
Yes.
of Asara Haruge Malchut, the same story.
That you are not what you think about yourself
Mhm.
or the powers you give yourself. This is why Congress has to approve the Senate or the Senate. I mean, in every society, it's very
Well, yeah,
dangerous if you.
Oh, so wait, Rabbi Prague. So in the davening that they don't have the Sfardim and we have the Asara Haruge Malchut, the claim by the king makes is really not a claim because they didn't work the brothers. So how did he didn't know that Hitam Merbo, obviously. Okay. Interesting.
He doesn't know.
Where
But
you going with
remember-
that, Larry?
He's asking a very big question.
Yes,
The
yes.
king who killed all the rabbis said to them, "You stole your brother and you have to die." He doesn't say that the brothers used him to clean the floor.
Right, there you go.
Question. The answer is it makes no difference what he said.
Oh.
We as
Right.
a society have to pay a price because we're not curing this cancer from our society the way we treat others. We know what to tell everyone, we know what to give speeches about, but in real life, it's a problem. Listen. The only time in Tefillah that we mention the word כי אתה מחלן לישראל,
Solchan.
לישראל ומחלן לשבטי ישורון. Since when are we praying on the Shvatim? You pray for the Jewish people. Says the Meshech Chochmah, only on Yom Kippur, because this Aveira every year
Comes
has
back.
been Machlan Leshivtei Yeshurun, and what we did, look carefully what goes on in the world. And you're talking about the world of
That's
Jews. Now, here's look in Halakha. You asked before, what happened to this man who did a sophisticated murder, and look what happens to him now. הרי שלא הרגam המלך, the king did not punish him. ולא הייתה השעה צריכה לכך, it's not a play that the Sanhedrin should interfere. ולא הייתה השעה צריכה לכך לחזק הדבר, listen carefully now, הרי בית דין חייבים בכל מקום להכותם מכה רבה הקרובה למיתה. They did beat the hell out of them, almost killing them. Just make sure
It's not
that
just
they are not being buried tomorrow, but break all the bones, beat them. The Rambam says, לאוסרם, then to lock them up, במצור ובמצוק שנים
Just
רבות.
tell me this to feed them.
And to
barley,
lock
this
them
and
up,
that.
not in an American jail, that you get whatever you want, במצור ובמצוק, which means
In a Turkish jail.
okay. Says in the Turkish jail. שנים רבות ולצערן בכל מיני צער. Make them suffer any way you can. Why is that? כדי להפחיד ולאיים על שאר הרשעים.
Everybody else.
To send a message. Here is the chopping the head of Saudi Arabia, which means there are certain, the only way we human beings learn a lesson, if the consequences are very
Like in Los
clear.
Angeles, you can steal up $2,000 and no consequences.
שלא יהיה דבר להם לפוקר במכשול. Otherwise, the message people get, שיאמר, הריני מסבב להרוג אויבי, כדרך שעשה פלוני. Otherwise, anyone that wants to eliminate his enemy,
What he wants.
he got off the hook. I would do
So it's for society.
the same. Okay, then the Rambam continue.
So
Okay,
it seems
now
like
we
it's
go.
not just imprisonment, it's punishment within the imprisonment. It's
Right, so
serious
this-
punishment.
So now you understand exactly what Yehuda is telling. We saw yesterday that Yehuda openly says against Reuven, unlike Reuven thought that if we just drop him in the pit, it's very far from murder. Yehuda is saying it's a murder. It's a murder, the Rambam says. You're eliminating someone indirectly, you are a murderer.
So in the pit, and they didn't know there was snakes or
That's for
predators in
sure.
there.
That's for
But
sure.
and
Right.
he put him in there, they couldn't get out on his own, he would starve, having no
Correct,
food and no
correct.
water. So and eventually he
So
would die.
right. So legally, this would be labeled as killing indirectly. But we just saw in the Rambam that you are a full-fledged murderer.
But with the snakes and the scorpions, we say the Sadiq Gamur is not affected by the animals. So that was like almost like a test. If he's a Sadiq,
Like
it's
people,
Yeah, but we don't know about the snakes. That's only a drash. We don't know about snakes.
the words it says "Abo reik ve'ein bo mayim."
In Bomayim.
But if you say reik is empty. The pasuk is almost screaming water. There's no water.
Well, that's one of the most famous Rashis. Everybody knows that Rashi.
But it's מדויק מאוד, it's מדויק מאוד in the pasuk. It's מדויק מאוד in the pasuk. Now, the only exception, so to say, is look a second in Vav. אחד ההורג את הגדול או את הקטן בן יומו. regardless if you kill a man, a mature adult, or is a baby 1 day old.
Really less than 30 even, that's why it's significant to
Yeah.
say 1 day, less than 30 days.
Yeah.
That we're not, it's
Come,
a
come,
safek,
we-
it's a
we-
safek whether he's gonna,
We continue reading the Rambam. The Rambam says, הרי זה נהרג עליו, will be executed אם הרג בזדון, או גולה, אם הוא go to מקלט, אם הרג בשוגג. Now Eli, the Rambam is adding what you wanted, but
Oh.
you almost said, והוא שכלו לו חודשה. Only if we know that the mother carries the baby full term,
Oh.
which means if we know when she became pregnant, but she delivered the baby before a full trimester,
Mhm.
yes, then it's murder, but not punishable by death, yes?
Okay.
והוא שכלו לו חודשה. אבל, the Rambam continues, אם נולד, but if he was born לפחות מ9 חודשים,
Yeah.
under, הרי הוא כנפל, then Eli, what you said,
It's not
עד
true.
שישיה 30 יום.
Alright, then we're gonna wait for
If it's less than 9 months,
and it's 30, less than
unless
30
the baby
days.
survives 30
30
days,
Okay.
then this would not be considered a full-fledged murder.
Right.
וההורגו בתוך 30 יום אינו נהרג עליו. Rambam continues,
So Rabbi, for example, a horrible situation. Woman gives birth, she gives birth for 4 to 9 months. The baby is, say, severely compromised. And they decided to kill the baby.
the
So
Rambam,
the baby is a day old.
in a minute you'll see the Rambam. Listen carefully now, please listen carefully now. אחד ההורג את הבריא, if you kill a healthy man, או את החולה הנוטה למות. Now he's not saying החולה הנוטה למות, he's not saying החולה הנוטה למות because lung cancer or because kidney cancer. It's naturally, you see, yes, it is about to die, you know.
All right, just
Listen.
not because he's family.
ואפילו ההורג את הגוסס. The man is on his deathbed not because internal diseases. נהרג עליו, this is a full-fledged, you'll be killed for it. ואם היה גוסס בידי אדם, yes, but if the guy is dying because he was stabbed or a bullet was struck in him, and we're trying to survive him, you hear a new title now, גוסס בידי אדם. The reason he's dying is because someone did something to him.
Is this the same guy though, or somebody else
Continue-
necessarily?
Continues the Rambam. כגון שהיכו עד שנטה למות. The case, the famous case in the Gemara is 10 people are standing with a baseball bat. Or one man, he's not dead yet, but he's dying.
Right.
If you kill this one, says the Rambam, ההורגו אין בית דין ממיתים אותו. Why? Because the Gemara has a pasuk. איש כי יכה כל נפש אדם. כל נפש אדם, if כי יכה נפש אדם. Only if he has 100% life in him. The minute the killer is already in you, the bullet, the bat, this is not called nefesh adam. So again, this goes back to the category we spoke before. It's a murder, but not punishable. by
What,
death.
just to be sure, you said that with the bat, they have 10 guys with a bat, 10 bats. So 9 people hit him, he's still alive. The 10th person does the final blow and he dies.
This is
So
a famous.
that's the case. But
This is a famous case in the Gemara.
he's not-
Machloket Rabbi Yehuda v'Rabbanan.
he did the
One-
final blow. but
One
still-
opinion is that the last one will be killed, but the halacha is he's not being killed.
No, not that final blow.
Assuming now,
Myself.
Rani, assuming each blow potentially could have killed him. Yes.
Right.
Now, listen to the Rambam now. So up till now we spoke. He's a young kid. Remember, Gosses, many of you.
But you made a very big distinction. If a person is naturally about to pass away, it's not.
This is called the Gosses. This
This is a gosses, but he still would be chayav on killing this
And the
gosses.
Rambam says murder.
It's not a dead man walking, as opposed
No,
to.
otherwise, I mean, I used it even though you were deaf. I mean, remember I'm saying it is the minute the baby is born, he walks slowly to his grave, correct?
Yeah.
The grave might
Everybody's
reach
gonna
there
die.
99 years old. So why don't you say everyone is everyone is already on his way to die? The answer is this is life. life is right now, you function, even though the man cannot function, he cannot go off the bed, he cannot feed himself, so what? But you can see that his vital organs are slowing down. There's no disease.
No, but if a man's a treifa and he has pancreatic
Treifa, we
disease,
didn't talk about treifa yet. We spoke about treifa is the next halacha
Just
in Rambam.
it's just a natural
Because
demise.
says me, I'm using an example. My wife's grandfather, my mother-in-law's father. When I was in the 90s, you can see slowly how the man is
Okay, that I
diminishing. He
understand.
was in the
That I
hospital and
understand.
eventually died.
I know, that's it.
My wife's aunt, Leah,
I'm saying, but the guy who has pancreatic cancer,
the
who
next-
was
the
not
next-
conscious,
the
and was
next
not,
level.
okay,
forget the conscious, he was very conscious, but
okay.
the minute he was diagnosed with that, it's treifa, and therefore you're not chayav.
Oh, okay, fine,
Yeah,
fine.
this
That's
is
what
the
had,
next-
because if you said
No,
it had
no.
a baby day Adam, you said.
Because says b'di adam not, וההורג את הטריפה.
So Rabbi, just so I guess
So
you can
then
understand.
let's read the next one. Let's
Okay.
read the next
I
one.
thought you said-
ההורג את הטריפה. Here the example Eli gave.
Okay.
You have an incurable,
Yeah.
אף על פי שאוכל ושותה,
I think either.
ומהלך בשוק. הרי זה פטור בידי דיני אדם. Here, this is, Rambam is very clear.
Okay.
What's the
Again.
English Rabbi?
No, it's פטור בידי אדם, is the court would not accept.
Yeah, cannot.
Now, let's go back. But of course, if the man
What
has
is a treifa? Horeget treifa. What's the example? What's the?
that he has a terminal illness that would not make
No
it
chance
to
to
a year, within a year.
Within-
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's a treifa.
It's not that sick. It's sick.
Now, the Rambam is doing something very smart. Every good lawyer would say, of course, the person I represent killed. But this guy, he has a cure. He has incurable disease. Of course, he was buried only 2 weeks ago. Says the Rambam, "V'chol adam v'chezkat shalem." Every human being is assumed
To be good.
to be healthy, remember, whatever it means, yeah. וההורגו נהרג. עד שיוודע בוודאי, בוודאי שזה טריפה. ויאמרו, here the definition, ויאמרו הרופאים שמכה זו אין לה תעלה באדם, אין לה תעלה, means there's no cure for it. בימות, אם לא ימיתנו דבר אחר. Now, I mean, I'm just telling you, which means that 200 years ago, if you killed someone that had a certain disease that today with regular antibiotics you can cure, but for that time, there was no cure, someone killed him, it's not a full-fledged murder yet.
Right, but if you kill a regular guy nowadays, you're not gonna do an autopsy to find out if he had a disease,
No,
you're
but-
gonna assume he's
no, but-
shalim
right,
according to the
right.
Chazakah.
But the same chazakah here is when we buy blood kosher meat, it means what? It's slaughtered properly, they check the lungs are perfect. There are many other
That
diseases
we don't check.
that we don't check. The answer is the same as by a man. If the halacha doesn't tell us to check, we assume that the animal is kosher as far as
Kosher enough. So Rabbi, today we have all this assisted dying. People go to Switzerland because they're terminally, so they want to let them be killed. Or England, I think, now they're passing, Oregon, I think, has this law also. People go. So the person has a terminal illness and they're assisting them in dying. They're murderers, but what's the halacha? They're not betting.
the halacha is that you cannot do it. But you see, they do it in a very sophisticated way also. They are telling the patient what to do.
So it's suicide.
The patient
It's
is
suicide. It's suicide.
So it's still the same.
And then,
Now,
Well, I tell you, the old doctor, what was his name, Kevorkian,
yeah.
so he was doing this, they weren't prosecuting him, so he finally took the next step and he did it himself. And when he did it himself, then they
That's
prosecuted him and put him
Exactly,
in jail.
because then he's
He crossed the line,
Yeah,
eventually he
right,
crossed the
right.
line.
so today, Rabbi, we go in the hospitals, elderly people, so they give them
so
morphine.
so
And they keep upping the morphine to the point where the person can't function anymore.
The morphine doesn't kill.
This
Yeah,
is-
it does.
Morphine
It does,
slows down
does.
the whole system where they end
Listen
up not
carefully,
surviving.
so the domino,
That's
but
why they have this.
The rabbi warned me
It
about that,
wasn't
I've
given
seen
with
that
the intent,
situation.
it wasn't given with the intent to stop their body.
The doctors know that.
one of these big
Doctors know
professors who wrote many books
Yeah.
about all the psakim of the Rabbanim happened to be in Italy, in Europe, in a big convention. This was the time which Rabbi Zalman Auerbach died, and his position anyway was to present the rabbi's position about this question.
We have a Haimed now, this organization where people are elderly.
So
people
basically what the
rabbis.
rabbi said is that this, you can never disconnect the machine.
Of course,
You can never stop giving him
nourishment.
nourishment, but you're not obligated to
give
give him any medicine to extend suffering life.
No.
Anyway, the doctor says that before he spoke, he says, I'm going to represent the opinion of someone that just died, and this one says everyone in the production stood up. Then after he said what he said, the doctors of the Pope came to him and says, would you mind coming and presenting to the Pope, because this is a very logical, you're not killing him, he's dying on his own, but I must give him whatever he needs. So to pull or to stop water or drinks, this is a,
But as far as giving him thing, it's just really
Right, to
nourishment
give
that you
him-
have to give.
Right.
You don't have to give medicine, you don't have to give nourishment, you have
correct,
to
because
give.
if you're not
You
giving
can't let him starve
nourishment,
to death.
you are killing him by starvation.
Yes, you
Must
can't do
nourish.
that. Very
But not
complicated.
extend his.
Correct. I mean, it's very, remember, this is a question that come up very often.
They're in line with our same belief, right? The church.
Many years ago, there was a lady that moved to Israel, and the doctor called her up and said, listen, your mother is on the last few months of her life, come spend quality time with her. Listen to this. After a week and two, doctors come and ask the daughter the following question. Says, your mother is dying, no matter what. We just got new medicine from Switzerland. And we have a young patient that has the same cancer of your mom. Would you mind if we would try it on your mom? The way your mom, now it might extend your mom's life in 2-3 weeks, but this is life of suffering, more or less. I mean, the woman happened to be sincerely religious. So she called a few doctors and everyone told her, you cannot make decision on your mother's. And your mother told you whatever she wanted, she's willing to be a guinea pig to have one is fine, but otherwise it's not in your hand. You cannot allow them. The rabbi told her, tell the doctor, would you do it to your mom? Not to your wife, to your mom.
To extend her suffering, so to speak.
But this is basically the permission they were asking. I mean, they have to ask legally the question, yes?
They wanted to use it for the younger child.
No,
there's a
somebody
young
else.
patient-
Experiment on the
there's a
elderly
young
patient.
patient
They
that
would
does
extend their
much
life another few
more-
weeks.
Correct.
They wanted-
So the way,
worked with her, they would
the
give it
way
to the
the
young
mother would react to the new medicine would tell them if they can use it in the new patient.
And they couldn't ask the mother.
The mother was semi-conscious. It was semi-unconscious. Now, here's one more Rambam since we're already at the page.
No, I just, could they ask the mother? They can't ask the mother, so they ask the.
No, if the mother is willing to suffer to help other person, it's a
There
lot.
was a suffer factor.
She was
That's
suffering,
the
said,
thing.
could you
Her,
extend life?
her
additional
disease
suffering.
was a suffering. Now
Medicine would cause
look
additional suffering.
at the Rambam. The Rambam said that this. Look at the Rambam, Halacha Yud Aleph. Look carefully, Halacha Yud Aleph. Now listen carefully because many people have.
Look at the time, Rabbi Prague.
And I'm looking, but we have a clock here, so thank God this clock is not exactly what is right. It's like my
Oh, it's funny, the
Oh,
clock
it's
is
slow.
slow.
clock
at
is
that.
slow. Okay,
It's just about 8 o'clock now.
basically.
And by the way, Rabbi Prague, when I went to high school, the clock was always fast.
But never fast enough, Larry.
Never fast enough.
Okay. Anyway, the next the Rambam I wanted to show you according to the Kesef Mishnah. Yeah, he learns that if you kill a Gentile, it's a full-fledged murder, not punishable by death. I mean, the Aveira of Lo Tirtzach, the Rambam. Now, if you have time, look in Yud Aleph and read the Kesef Mishnah, and he brings the Mechilta, and Mechilta says, "Ela באמת אמרו פטור מדיני בשר ודם ודינם אסור לשמיים." וזהו שכתב רבנו, רמב"ם אינו נהרג עליו.
Yes.
Killing a Gentile אינו נהרג, but it's a full-fledged murder. The nafka mina is, what?
Is the Evet because it's like a woman?
No, the Eved is a human being. If he dies,
If you're killing Evid, you're chayav mitah though.
Depends if Yom Yomayim or not. Maybe tomorrow. we'll start
So
with
with the Bedim.
Let's go back over this. I didn't hear this so good.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll do it.
We don't want to do
bye-bye.
that, we don't want to do that.
and now every clock is already 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Question is if
Like
it's,
that, that way
It's like the Wi-Fi.
you do. Listen,
no, but the Wi-Fi, Baruch Hashem,